Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Good. Yeah. Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3.
This is that like there's spotlights on them. It's not gonna.
But dude, like, if you want to know someone is there, he'll know.
You don't know. He got me one great picture. One great picture behind him. You saved it because I tagged the wrong account when Sam retired. He got a picture of Muriel, somebody and he got a picture of you, Sam, and me. Sam had trouble. So why don't you that's not the wrong one. But that one just. Oh yeah. Yeah. I know you thought it was the minor show. Thank you for that.
I'm spending 30 minutes scrambling the book and kind of have it make the phone
Right-handed people. You got one more, yeah?
Yeah. What side you putting on this one?
Yeah, the right hand. I'm a lefty. I would be the other side. Yeah, please. Thank you.
I'll copy that. I'm standing by. I'm up here in the room now. Standing by.
Yeah. If I had a good story, I'd tell it, but you know I don't. I had an aggressive dog. My dog. And she yanked me across the street.
Recently, like
Yeah, just this yesterday morning. It was terrible. No, I thought.
what kind of dog?
She's like a Superman. She's like an amazing. She's the most beautiful and like wonderful companion. Strong as an ox. You'll be fine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And now, we bring you the following live press announcement. Our regularly scheduled program will resume following the announcement.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C., and we are at the D.C. Department of Health, or D.C. Health, and their headquarters in Anacostia. I am joined by members of my leadership team, and we are here today to provide a review of 2025. In previous years, we focused just on public safety, but this year, I've asked my team to look back at other major events and initiatives as well. So obviously, we have been busy and we have had a strong and continued progress towards driving down crime in the district. And we have been focused on other big picture issues as well. So let me start by acknowledging the announcement that I made this morning that Chief Smith will be stepping down as the Chief of Police at the end of this year. Chief Smith has led MPD during a very challenging time. She first of all accepted the challenge at the peak of a crime spike in the District of Columbia back in 2023. And even then I said, "Are you sure you want to take this on?" And she said, "I'm sure because I'm a crime fighter." The trends the city was facing post-pandemic really required somebody with deep experience that could move a very able organization of men and women in MPD, and that's exactly what she did. And so during her tenure, we opened the Real-Time Crime Center. We deployed newer and better technology. We worked with the D.C. Council to pass very needed, comprehensive legislation that reset our accountability and public safety ecosystem in the district. And as Chief Smith got all this done while navigating really unprecedented challenges and attacks on the city's autonomy. So under her leadership, we dramatically drove down violent crime. The homicide rate is now its lowest levels in 10 years. We drove down traffic fatalities and drastically improved a homicide closure rate, which I'm told as of today is over 80%. So we also, and we can advance the slides, and I have had the occasion to review some of the incidents that our entire public safety cluster have addressed, really big challenges, starting in January, where this team, and this is what makes the district special, is that between Homeland Security and our call center and MPD and fire and EMS and DPW, we prepare for large-scale events all the time, including in January, where we had three national special security events, including the events to count the Electoral College votes, a state funeral for President Carter, and the inauguration. And very sadly, our public safety apparatus responded in just an incredible and honorable way to the tragedy over the Potomac, including the office of our chief medical examiner, who really brought a lot of peace and solace to families. Our whole team, including Deputy Mayor Albert and City Administrator Donahue, as well as Deputy Mayor Kine, and all of us in government have also been focused on how we shift our economy in response first to the cuts made by DOGE, which impacted many D.C. residents, as well as our downtown real estate. We spent a good part of the spring really redoing a budget that had almost been baked to accommodate changes that the Congress made in reducing our FY25 budget by about, oh gosh, now I'm going to forget too much. That we had cuts that we had to make in order to have a balanced budget delivered to the council. And the summer brought us what no one could have expected, unprecedented challenge to our home rule, and in the declaration of a presidential emergency and an attempt to take over MPD. And we finished the year with the longest shutdown in D.C. history, in U.S. history, I should say, where we had to deal with a lot of uncertainty and continue to deliver for D.C. residents. So with all of those things, I'm proud to say that 37,000 D.C. government employees and my leadership team handled each one and is prepared for the district to come out stronger on the other side. So even with that, we had big wins throughout the year. We can advance the slides. We delivered and opened a long-promised hospital east of the river on the St. Elizabeth's campus. We've been very focused on St. Elizabeth's over my tenure and invested over $1 billion at the campus, most recently with Cedar Hill. We opened the Whitman Walker Clinic as well as an advanced technical center, which is a big part of our new high school approach. There are new homes and apartment homes at St. Elizabeth's, Sycamore and Oak, which is our temporary retail village. The Care First Arena was our first big investment, and the Care First has come on as a named partner. And we opened several years back now a new men's shelter at 801 East, which is helping to transform lives. And more than that, and I think this is where I'm going to ask Deputy Mayor Albert to jump in, we have continued our focus on downtown D.C. So with that, Nina?
Well, the mayor launched two very aggressive programs to try and transform downtown DC. We continue to have a focus on that because that is a long-term project. With our Housing in Downtown program, we had set out to grow the downtown residential base by 15,000 new residents. And I'll just say, very pleased with the progress that we've made, and we are on track to deliver 8,400 new homes. And that includes homes that are incentivized by the programs that we offer, as well as private sector investments that don't include and have not pursued the Housing in Downtown program. We're also wholly focused on jobs. The mayor mentioned the impact that federal jobs have had on the DC economy. And so we have a goal of growing our job base through diversification means by investing in technology. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later, Mayor.
Okay. And we've also been focused on all of the parts of our economic development strategy that highlights our culture, including opening the Go-Go Museum very near where we are. Art All Night continues to grow across the city with a number of activations. And we had a very, very successful World Pride in D.C. We delivered on one of my biggest promises, and that is bringing the commanders home to RFK. Late at the end of last year, we secured the 180-acre campus and a land transfer from the federal government. This spring, we inked a deal with the Washington Commanders, and in late summer, the council approved that deal. We are working diligently with the team to deliver the stadium by 2030, which is fantastic news for the district and for the region. We have also been continue at the kind of heart of all of our work is driving down crime and making sure we have safe neighborhoods, and that DC continues to be a great place to live and to raise a family. And so with that, I'm going to turn this over to the Chief and Deputy Mayor.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I want to begin by thanking Mayor Bowser, City Administrator Donahue, and certainly Deputy Mayor Lindsay Appiah for their continued commitment and support and investing in the Metropolitan Police Department. With just a few weeks left until the end of the year, we are seeing significant reductions in every major crime category compared to this time about a year ago. It's important to remember that these numbers are compared to 2024, a year that ended with significant crime reductions compared to 2023. Our robberies are down 36%, which includes a 49% drop in carjackings. And to put the carjacking decreases into perspective, in 2023, there were 959 carjackings that occurred in 2023, and to date, we have 243. Our ADWs are down 10%, and total violent crime is down 28%. As you can see, property crime is down 15% with a 29% decrease in burglary and a 21% drop in vehicle thefts. What I also want to add is that we tasked our district commanders to develop prevention plans within our commercial corridors with respect to burglaries. And those plans have also been significant in helping us to drive down crime, as well as our burglary reductions. And we're certainly keeping our businesses safe by conducting hundreds of checks throughout each district to ensure that our businesses have the safety that they need at this time. Next slide. As we look at our homicide reduction, we are making great strides in reducing homicides. And this is really driven by the high visibility work of our patrol officers, as well as the work that our detectives are doing each day whenever we come in contact with crime in our city that results in a homicide. We are currently on pace to be at the lowest number of homicides in over 8 years. What we do know is that one person killed in our city is too many, and I want to take a moment to extend, of course, my condolences to those families who have lost their lives, their loved ones in our city. To date, our homicides are down 51% compared to 2023, and we are down 30% compared to this same time last year. As a number of homicides have decreased, our detectives are closing more cases. We've made 103 homicide arrests so far this year, which culminates into an 82% closure rate, which is the highest that we've seen in 13 years. Our homicide detectives are the best in the business. In addition to their expertise, we are working very closely with respect to our homicides, because we have better technology, and we certainly have a partnership with the United States Attorney's Office, the U.S. Marshal Services, Capital Area Regional Task Force has also been very instrumental in ensuring that as the warrants are signed by the U.S. Attorney's Office, they are out there taking custody of those individuals who are responsible for those homicides. When we look at our shooting reductions, what we do know is that we are decreasing homicides and keeping our communities safer by driving down the number of shootings in our city. Nothing makes our communities feel less safe than the sound of gunfire or gunshots. Shootings are down 52% since 2023 and 32% compared to the same time last year. There are 488 fewer shooting victims this year than there were just 2 years ago. And that is an incredible reduction in the trauma experienced by some folks in our neighborhoods. We know we do have a lot more work to do, but we're confident that the strategies that we currently have in place are going to continue to make an impact in those areas. We're also identifying conflict and results to gunfire. Our Office of Criminal Intelligence is monitoring disputes between competing groups on social media, and I think we have been seeing a lot more success in being able to identify who the I'll say culprits are with regards to our shootings. We are also reacting faster to trends, analyzing recent calls for service for the sounds of gunshots, and we're crafting our deployment based on the various trends and patterns that we've been seeing on a daily basis. And we are committed to removing illegal firearms from our streets. We've recovered more than 5,000 firearms over the last 2 years, including 2,608 firearms this year thus far. One of the things that was really significant outside of the shootings and homicides that I heard from community was traffic. Keeping our communities safe is more than just reducing crime. It's also about making sure that our roadways are safer. And last year, I expanded the size of our traffic enforcement team. The unit is now able to conduct almost daily enforcement operations. And this work has made a difference, and it has been impactful. Our traffic fatalities are down 47% compared to this same time last year. We also established the traffic safety compliance checkpoint in 2023. On some of our busiest highways, and we've conducted 58 checkpoints this year, where more than 4,100 motorists have received notice of infractions that have been issued. These checkpoints are not just focused on issuing citations. They're really about educating drivers, reminding them to slow down, and certainly reminding them to stay alert. We're committed to expanding these efforts and to build up on the same progress in 2026. We also know that keeping our communities safe cannot be accomplished without building trust with our residents. We continue to focus on the best way to reach out to our youngest residents. In April, I launched our Juvenile Investigative Response Unit to better respond to youth-involved crimes and to increase our outreach to juveniles who are currently in the criminal justice system. Our JIRU, which is what we call it, investigators have worked on investigation that has resulted in 227 juvenile custody orders. Those investigators regularly check in on our juveniles in the criminal justice system, ensuring that they are in compliance with the sentencing guidelines. And we have spoke at length about our efforts to curtail large youth gatherings where there is disorder in particular areas around the city. Since emergency legislation was enacted in early July, I've declared 15 curfew zones with only 19 curfew violations in those zones. These zones have been a tremendous tool at reducing disorderly gatherings. And I will say that we are committed to creating as many positive spaces that we can and supporting those efforts around our city where we know there are places and spaces where our young people can go to congregate. Our outreach team this year has hosted more than 2,000 events, which were attended by more than 110,000 residents. And I believe that interaction by our commanders and by the members of the police department has made an impact and a difference in our community. And finally, the most important asset to our police department is our people. I want to thank Mayor Bowser and Deputy Mayor Pia, who continue to allow us to make significant investments in our workforce this year, and we've remained focused on encouraging folks to join the Metropolitan Police Department. I will thank the mayor again for the new collective bargaining agreement, which took effect in September, delivered a nearly 13% salary increase to our sworn members, and increased our starting salary by more than $75,000. After 5 years of service, an MPD officer can make more than $95,000 a year. Our in-person recruitment team has also been instrumental and continues to travel. We allow them to travel beyond the walls of the District of Columbia to ensure that we are increasing our application pool. This year, we've seen an 11% increase in our application pool this year. Currently, right now, there are 134 recruits training at our Metropolitan Police Academy, and 18 recruit officers are set to graduate next Friday. We do have a significant investment in our Cadet Corps program, and it has paid off. 32 cadets have transitioned to become recruit officers this year. And I'll just put a plug in that if you're listening and you're interested in a position with the Metropolitan Police Department, we ask you to please go to the website, joinmpd.dc.gov to learn more. The men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department are owed a great deal of gratitude from all of us. And I cannot express my admiration and unwavering commitment and support that our members have really worked hard in keeping our city safe. Thank you for this time this morning and giving me an opportunity to talk a little bit about where we are with our crime trends. It is my hope and certainly my anticipation that we will continue to move forward with this same effort in 2026. I will now turn it over to Deputy Mayor Lindsay Appiah.
Thank you so much, Chief. And as the Chief said, we certainly, all of the numbers that you've seen, we say thank you to the hardworking men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department. We're grateful for their work. We also know in public safety and justice that it really is a team effort, that we as a cluster are certainly a team. And so I extend my thanks to the more than 10,000 men and women of the public safety and justice cluster who, as the mayor said at the top, have faced what I think is an unprecedented year full of challenges and the busyness that comes with being DC. There is only one DC, and I think that we experienced that in the public safety and justice cluster. How we are able to see the numbers that the chief said, it is a team effort, and it involves investing in the men and women of the public safety and justice cluster and also in technology. Those have really been key investments that the mayor has made over the past couple of years. You've heard us always talk about recruiting, but we know that the way that we can make and ensure that our teams are most effective is by investing in our people and in technology. And so an example of that, you heard several investments that have been made in people at the Metropolitan Police Department and our Real-Time Crime Center. We've also made investments in other parts of our system that are critical. We all know that, you know, when people dial 911, it's very important that we're in a position to always have well-trained men and women who are able to answer the call, that they have the technology and equipment to do that. And so this year, we, through investments Mayor Bowser made in the FY26 budget, we were able to increase the salaries of the call takers and dispatchers at the OUC, putting them right at the top of the nation in salary. And also investing both at OUC $1 million in call taker recruitment and retention, but across the public safety and justice cluster, there have been investments to make sure that we not only bring new people in the door, which we are in a very competitive environment in the District of Columbia, but that we retain and keep really high quality, well-trained individuals. And so we are grateful for those investments. We also, again, technology is vitally important to make us more efficient and effective. And this year, we were excited to reopen the original Public Safety Communication Center, which was an $18.5 million project. It represents an investment in interoperability and our ability to make sure that no matter what happens, that we're always able to answer the call, to train our call takers on the most high, the best technology there really is in the country in public safety communications, to give redundancy. And that's what that center certainly represents. It also is an investment in, Deputy Mayor Alba will talk about more, but in the McMillan site, it's our government investment in new spaces and communities that we're developing in the district. And so that is something we're deeply excited about. We also, all of these investments pay off. And what we saw this year is what I know to be true and what people across the country know to be true. The men and women in the public safety and justice cluster, and these agencies are really the gold standard in public safety. And so this year we had many of our agencies that received national accolades, awards, accreditations that put them in a very, very small pool of people. You see the Department of Corrections, which was reaccredited, making them just one of 13% of jails that are accredited by ACA. Reaccreditations at DFS and OCME. OCME was also named the Medical Legal Death Investigation Office of the Year by the International Association of Coroners. Our Fusion Center at HCMA was named Fusion Center of the Year. Our Fire and EMS received Class 1 insurance rating, which is one of only 500 departments out of the 22,000 in the country to receive that rating. That was a 10-year process that culminated this year. And our OUC was recognized as they received the Annual Technology and Leadership Award and also received training accreditation. And so across the cluster, while providing high quality services, helping to drive down crime and make sure the city is safer, our agencies are also performing at a level that's acknowledged by their peers across the country. And so we're extremely proud of their work. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Deputy Mayor Albert.
Well, thank you so much. Mayor, thank you for your leadership and unwavering commitment to support DC residents and businesses, particularly during what has been a challenging year. But I believe that we are coming out stronger. Heading into 2025, we knew our affordable housing system was under serious duress. Mayor Bowser convened stakeholders from across the housing community that included providers, investors, tenants, and advocates to produce the Rental Act, a comprehensive piece of legislation that would protect the district's $1.4 billion investment in affordable housing, also so that we could overall look at strengthening our local housing ecosystem and make sure that DC continues to be a national leader in affordable housing. I do want to thank all of the partners that have helped us get past this critical reform package and enacted. And as we look to the future, we are looking to push for additional measures that are designed to stabilize and strengthen our housing ecosystem, because affordable housing is among the district's and this administration's top priorities. Of course, the reason why the district has been a national leader in affordable housing is because of the mayor's $1.4 billion over the last decade, and that has helped us add more than 15,000 new affordable homes citywide. The mayor had made the promise that our government would be a consistent and predictable financial partner, and the $100 million plus that the mayor's put into the Housing Production Trust Fund every year has been at the core of this policy priority. We also set bold housing goals to guide our vision, including neighborhood-specific goals that would drive housing production across the city. This fall, we welcomed residents, for example, into the Louise Senior Apartments, our first HPTF-supported project west of Rock Creek Park. The best way to blunt rising cost of housing is to build more housing, all types of housing, across every parts of the income spectrum. And so we saw a lot of innovation over the past 10 years and in 2025 alone. At Buzzard Point, the stacks are delivering more than 1,100 new homes for DC residents, and it's in a mixed use and mixed income neighborhood. That development didn't happen by accident. It took shape after the district made catalytic investments at Audi Field. And that has transformed, that sports anchored, I'll come back to that, stadium has transformed this part of the city, Buzzards Point. We also opened Mary Center, DC's first dedicated LGBTQ plus affirming communal living space for seniors. In Anacostia, we cut the ribbon on the first Anna Townhomes, a DEMPED project that created new affordable transit-adjacent homeownership opportunities. And just down the road, we opened projects at the Bridge District and Berry Farms that are delivering housing and amenities to Ward 8.
And another example of innovative housing, but in the human services space, is the opening of the E Street Bridge Housing Apartments. We opened this in October, and it represents the second non-concrete bridge housing program we have. building on the success of the Aston and the Foggy Bottom area. This is a critical part of how we drive down homelessness and drive down our unsheltered population. So what makes this unique? Well, first, it's an apartment building. It's not low barrier shelter. The apartments are designed to accommodate those who are unsheltered. The vast majority of the people who reside in these apartments came right from encampments and right from the street. Services such as mental health services, substance abuse services are located on site. No one has to go anywhere. And it blends into the community in which most members of the community don't actually know that the majority of the folks in that building actually were unsheltered before they came in. And this allows for us to be able to make an offering of housing to an individual who might not want to go to low barrier shelter, and provides them an opportunity to get stabilized in services to prepare them for long-term housing programs like our permanent supportive housing program. And it's a program that has been vital to driving down our point-in-time count homeless population, as well as a very significant reduction in our encampment population in DC.
So we started the conversation talking about an unprecedented year and the acceleration of the need to diversify our economy. That means that we identified our high-growth industries, and there are a variety of them, but tech is among them and one of our fastest growing, and we'll also talk about sports and entertainment. But back to tech, DC is quickly becoming one of the fastest growing cities for technology in the nation. We have high-skilled talent that companies are very attracted to, as well as access to policymakers who are driving investments across the tech industry. We've seen major companies like OpenAI, NVIDIA, Cisco, SpaceX, and others making moves to have a presence here because they recognize not only the talent but also the access that only DC can provide. And so we're strengthening our position as a leader in technology and innovation by attracting jobs and investments that come with it. We're gearing up to deploy our $26 million DC Venture Capital Fund that supports tech startups. We're also looking to leverage that $26 million investment. And the mayor's 26 budget creates new investments such as our $2.4 million Technology Ecosystem Fund, which is designed to grow technology, the technology network across the city. Which brings us to why also investing in sports, entertainment, and tourism. These sectors are growing. When people come to world-class cities, they're expecting to have world-class experiences. And so we are the sports capital. And that's why we're doubling down on sports. We've seen how stadiums are not only a home for sports, they are also home for concerts and a variety of different events. And so when we think about what the opportunity for a sports arena is to transform an entire neighborhood, we've done it, and we're going to do it again. Our ongoing investments in Capital One Arena are in progress. They're delivering state-of-the-art, an urban experience that has anchored downtown as the heart of our city's entertainment center. And the Commander Stadium will anchor 180 acres of mixed-use development along the Anacostia. The power of sports and entertainment is both real and it is underway. And the pride that is felt by our city cannot be underestimated with as early wins as the DC Defenders bringing home the UFL title and our Washington Spirit having made it to the championship match this year. With that?
And as we think about all of this extraordinary economic activity, it is of course vital to remember that the youth and children that live in Washington, D.C. have got to be integrated into the new corners of the economy that we are promoting. And we have to ensure that our young people have access to these kinds of chances and these kinds of great new jobs. And there's not a better example of how we're doing that than the brand new Advanced Technical Center that we opened up in Ward 8 this year. This is a place where public high school students come from all over the city, 25 different schools, in order to get college credit, high school credit, access to internships in the health services. This mirrors an Advanced Technical Center that we opened a few years ago in Ward 5, where we have seen young people accumulate thousands of college credits worth over $3 million. And get training in health sciences and cybersecurity. So they're getting credentialed in a way that will help ensure they get access to this wonderful economic activity that the mayor and deputy mayor have been talking about. And as we think about this reimagining of our high schools and our secondary experience, it's also not just in the public schools that this is taking place, but we recognize that employers and businesses are an essential part of this equation. So we are making sure young people have access to wonderful work-based learning opportunities, internships, and apprenticeships. You all are very familiar with our Summer Youth Employment Program, where an astonishing 11 to 13,000 young people every summer get placements in our local employers. But we have also now complemented that with apprenticeship programs and internships that provide high school credit during the school year, that provide recent recent high school graduates with access to apprenticeships. We just opened the new tech hub in our UDC location in Ward 8 in partnership with Accenture, where we've got 50 adults who are now in a 6-month training program full-time, getting paid, and will be guaranteed interviews by Accenture. And those are the kinds of innovations that will ensure our residents continue to get access to great jobs. And it is, of course, not just our young people that we care deeply about, especially over this past year. And the mayor mentioned the DOGE, I think he used the word devastation, but certainly when we saw the layoffs that were promoted in the federal government, we got very worried about the fact that those jobs were going away, and we needed to support our residents who are federal workers who've been displaced. We also recognized it's not just a DC phenomenon, but it is in fact a regional problem. The labor market is regional, and we were able to provide a leadership role in the region with Maryland and Virginia to stand up a brand new initiative called Talent Capital. We did this by launching a new web presence called talentcapital.ai that provides our displaced federal workers with access to actual jobs, real jobs that they are able to apply for. And in addition, we folded in a lot of support around coaching and training that would continue to give them access. So we focused on young people, we focused on adults, and we have really risen to meet this moment. With that, I will turn it back to the mayor to talk about how DC truly is a great place to live and to raise a family.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And I frequently refer to our investments in education and our performance in education as a bright spot in our city. Earlier, I guess it was right after or right before the school year started, we gave a briefing about what has happened in the school reform era in D.C., and it's been nothing short of remarkable, and it's due in large part to the willingness of D.C. residents and taxpayers to invest in the public education system. So this year, we were very proud to see that our graduation rate increased again, and now is at 78.7%. We also saw that we remained a leader in our early childhood education system, and there is no system like ours in this region, and probably not in the nation. Well, I don't know what anybody else who has universal.
We are ahead of the game.
We're ahead of the game on universal. So all 3-year-olds can go to public schools in the District of Columbia, and we see that 82% of our 3-year-olds and 95% of our 4-year-olds are participating, and we know that that gives them a real leg up when they go to kindergarten. We continue to follow our CAPE results, and we've seen the largest increase in proficiency rates post-pandemic, and we know that compares very favorably to our urban counterparts. Deputy Mayor Khan and his team have also launched a new website that we hope everybody is flocking to, most.dc.gov, that talks about more than 17,000 after-school programs in our city. So when people say, there's nothing for kids to do, or we don't please make sure you've checked the Most DC so that you can connect your family with these often free programs or low-cost programs. So we appreciate your interest there. This Saturday, EdFest is back in person. For the 2026-27 school year, we're going to be at Kraken Courts and Skate in Ward 5, the big space where schools from around the city will set up tables so families can ask about their school, either in their neighborhood or another school choice. And you can register at myschooldc.org. So again, at Kraken Courts in Ward 5 this Saturday. We had the great honor this past weekend of opening the new Fort DuPont Ice Arena. It's open to the public, I think, starting today. And you can also go on the DPR website to learn more about offerings at Fort DuPont. I've had the chance to go, put on some skates, and people are just having a really good time. So check out DPR for all of the opportunities to get active at Fort DuPont. You can go one slide back. And also for Rec for All. This is for people who are operators of programs who want to partner with DPR to put on a recreational program around the city. We have grants available, and I think some of these grant funds are going to be used to teach ice skating at Fort DuPont. So we frequently talk about why we're the #1 park system in the nation, because we just have a wonderful portfolio of offerings across all 8 wards. In all of these facilities, or one of these facilities, is less than a mile walk from where you live, if you live anywhere in DC. So please check out Fort DuPont Park. And I think, Kevin, you're going to talk a little bit more about what we have been doing in terms of traffic safety.
One of the most powerful and probably underreported stories of this year is the decline in traffic fatalities that we've seen. This has been mimicked by a decline in injuries and crashes, so it's not just a fluke of fatalities. We're seeing safer behavior across the board, particularly when it comes to driver deaths, passenger deaths, and motorcycle deaths. So this is a credit to both the work of MPD and more robust enforcement. It's a credit to the work of DDOT and the significant investment the mayor put into improving our roadways. We track crashes before and after all of our construction projects. We know for a fact that when we invest in improving a corridor, there are fewer crashes and injuries and deaths in that corridor. So you see the result of a lot of activity the city has done. And I'll also add a third area that's maybe more elusive to define, which is we saw after COVID just an increase in people behaving in ways that were reckless, speeding. And we've just seen people driving safer around the country, and most notably and acutely in DC. The roads they're also on are smoother. There was a time in the city when I started working here where potholes is probably one of the top 3 topics. You see the difference of that investment between 2015 and 2025 in the number of roads that are fair or poor condition. You went from really a majority of our local streets, a majority of our allies, being in fair and poor condition to a very small number. There will always be an alley or street each year which turns from good to fair or fair to poor. As they do that, we invest and we repave them, we resurface them if we have to, reconstruct the whole roadway. So these are improvements that people feel and see every day, and I think are just wonderful tribute to the investments we've made over the years.
Thank you, Kevin. And one of my favorite little factoids on that slide is from Dave Thomas Circle to Mamie Johnson Plaza. And it's kind of emblematic, I think, of some work that we have been able to do where we can do it from start to finish. From getting control of the circle, including a restaurant that was in use, to making it safer in just a few short years as part of being being in Washington, D.C., you can do those types of things. So we continue to work with all of our crews, and so from DDOT to DPW to DGS, these are just a few of our agencies who are responsible for keeping the city clean and safe, and we want to say thank you. And finally, I want to announce our Fresh Start 5K. For those of you who haven't participated for 11 times, it's on New Year's Day. And it's going to be at the Frederick Douglass Memorial Bridge. We've done a Frederick Douglass 5K once. And so I hope it's in front of one of the committees today. And so we'll get out the route information later this week. But mark your calendars. We have, and Thenie Freeman, the director of DPR, has set some big goals for participation, including the Kids Dash, which we added. I guess this will be the third year for the Kids Dash. So it starts a little bit earlier. We want to get hundreds of kids involved. And by my request, we're starting a little bit later for the New Year's Eve revelers. And so you can join us. You can run, you can walk, you can jog, you can scoot. You can push your stroller. You can do all of those things. Just come out. So with that, we're able to take some questions on topic. And thank you for your patience. Yeah.
Thanks, Mayor. If I could just ask a few questions about Chief Smith's resignation. When did she submit the letter of resignation to you? And what was that conversation? I mean, was this something, a mutual conversation between you two? Did you try to get her to stay on through your term?
I always try to keep my people, and I always know when they're ready to go. And the chief has given us just a tremendous service. I think any chief that can look back at 2 years of dramatic crime reduction is leaving in good shape. And not only that, to make sure the department has the tools that it needs to advance. And the chief submitted her resignation last week.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Earlier today, the police union put out a statement regarding, Chief, your decision to leave. They said they respect your service, but they also added, I won't read the whole thing, but, quote, the union questions the timing of this announcement, which comes amid active investigations by the House Oversight Committee and the Department of Justice into allegations of manipulation of crime statistics and mismanagement within MPD. Can I ask you, once you leave, will you still be available to the committee and the Justice Department to assist in this investigation? And how much did this pressure from the White House, the Justice Department, the House committees, how much did this factor into you making that decision?
Chief, can I just start? And I'm not really sure what statement you're referring to from Pemberton, and that's unfortunate because it sounds like he's trying to drum up his own investigation. And we are very proud of our partnership with MPD and the union. We're especially proud that we worked very hard to get them the type of agreement that the men and women of the police department deserve. And we can say without equivocation that all of our employees have participated as they have been asked by both the Congress and the USAO. Chief.
And so to answer your last question first, I have no comment with respect to the union's letter. I haven't read it. This is the second actually I've heard about it, but I have not had an opportunity to read it. And so my decision was not factored into anything with respect other than the fact that it's time. I've had 28 years in law enforcement. I've had some time to think with my family. I mean, I shared that this morning on Fox 5 with respect to the fact that I've been running for 28 years. This has really been a fast-paced role because it is in a major city, and I know that the challenges that we faced have, we've had some high points and we've had some low points, but respectfully right now, this is a personal decision for myself and for my family.
Yeah.
morning. Chief and the mayor as well, what kind of comes next in this process? We know you're staying on through the end of the year, but is there an interim? Can you speak about the process a little bit about finding the next chief of police? If there's anybody in mind you might want to talk about.
No, we will. I will make an appointment at the appropriate time. Yep.
Peace and blessings. This question is either for you, Madam Mayor, or Chief Smith. Just in terms of the collaboration with the federal law enforcement, what latitude or what strategy are you going to employ just to ensure that there are no more warrantless arrests on the part of ICE, just given what the court decision that came out earlier this month? And just piggybacking off of that question, what reflections do you have in terms of just the post-search cooperation, what went right, what went wrong, just you coming out of your position as chief, how would you have gone about your MP's relationship with federal agents post-search?
So first of all, I wanted, and thank you, Sam, for that question. We've always had a relationship with our federal partners. I mean, this is not new. I came from the federal government. It's 24 years. And so those relationships that we've had pre the surge have always been there. What I will add with respect to once the surge began, the strategies that we have in place right now, I mean, I think we've said it a lot, that we do not work with ICE. We do work with our other federal partners, and the way that is designed and created, I think, has helped us to some degree with regards to making sure that if they're going to be here, that we have an opportunity to know exactly, where they are and how they can work with us in the space of public safety. They are assigned to all 7 of our districts. They do come to attend our roll calls, and then they do go out with our crime suppression team and our special mission unit officers.
If I may follow up.
Sure.
So my understanding is that HSI and ICE are sort of, if not the same entity, they're under, the name of the entity escapes me. My understanding is that they're one and the same. So in terms of the 2 instances that took place on Bending Road and around Sheriff Road, those, in a sense, at least as residents see it, did involve ICE. So just speaking as a reporter, I would like some clarity around the nature of that relationship, because to your point, federally and locally, law enforcement has been collaborating, but with my 4 eyes, I can see that the relationship has changed from August 11th on. So, as a reporter, once again, I'm just trying to get a sense of, once again, the nature of the relationship and how you as chief coming out would have approached it differently, given that, under MPD's watch, HSI agents have shot at motorists, almost killing them.
HSI is a Homeland Security agency. They don't report to MPD. So HSI can operate in any jurisdiction in the United States of America. So their oversight body is the Congress of the United States.
All right, so in terms of that, Mayor, again, and I'm approaching this as a reporter, just for clarity's sake, what was the whole rationale in continuing that relationship? And I'm very clear, as Deputy Mayor Pia said last week in front of the council, that DC doesn't quite have the latitude to do what other cities are doing in terms of rejecting that. But at the very same time, you did say that collaboration has soured relations between the police and the community. So what was the rationale in continuing that?
And me issuing a mayor's order, I have exhaustively discussed that. And our mayor's order lays out very clearly our relationship with DOJ agencies. And we entered into it to exit a presidential emergency. And we have since, while our MPD and our officers and our leadership were driving down crime for 2 straight years, including leading up to the presidential emergency, we have also seen since then an acceleration of those improvements, and we finished the year with continued improvements in violent crime. Any other questions? Yes.
Yes, for the chief. Sorry, even back here. I just didn't know if you can share anything about what's next. Are you staying in any law enforcement roles? Are you retiring altogether? Anything you could share?
So as I shared earlier this morning with Fox 5, I think the next step for me within the next couple of weeks is really to just relax, take a moment to relax and reflect on the resiliency of the members of the Metropolitan Police Department. I will be available to the incoming or interim to provide him or her support with respect to the direction that the police department will continue.
Okay. Yep.
Just kind of looking back, I'm sorry, looking back on 23 crime surge in the district. This is for the chief. We saw every other major city, or most major cities in America, see a decrease in 23. When you came in and took over, what was it that you can look back on now and say was going right? What was going wrong in D.C. at that time, since it was lagging behind by about a year from every other major city in America?
Well, I think it was just really just the different strategies and the approaches. And I will say this, the mayor and the deputy mayor were very instrumental in ensuring that we had legislation that supported what we needed as police officers passed during that time period, and it really helped to provide the support that we needed to ensure that we could drive down violent crime in the city. It was challenging, yes, very challenging, but I think the decisions that the mayor made, the decision that the relationships that we built with all of our external partners within D.C. government, I think has been instrumental, and I think we overlook that the relationship that we built specifically with the Homicide Reduction Partnership Plan, and that wasn't just specific to the Metropolitan Police Department, but we brought in quality of life support from our D.C. government agencies, DBH, DPW, CFSA actually helped out, and there were some others, to name all the alphabet suits. But to be honest, it was really a collective effort of D.C. government agencies that really helped us in this space, as well as residents in our city.
Yep.
Mayor, you said you'll name an interim at the appropriate time.
Mm-hmm.
Will that be before the end of the year?
Yes.
Okay. And then can you tell us just about the challenge you're facing trying to get somebody to replace the chief when you yourself will only be in your job for another 13 months, and so it may not be a permanent position? Will you be looking nationally or just within MPD? Can you just talk a little bit about the search and the challenges that you'll face given your situation?
I don't call it a challenge, Mark, because of the very deep bench we have and because of the great reputation of our department. So I wouldn't call it a challenge. We will have the right person in leadership, and I just want to give it a little bit more time. I will say this. I've been around long enough to know and to have lived through transitions for outgoing mayors, one of whom I was replacing. And so there are ways to approach this period of time and do it in a way that's going to be most beneficial to DC residents. So I'm gonna marinate on it a little bit, and I'll appoint the right perfect person.
I just followed. You said you have MPD as a deep bench.
Yes.
Does that indicate you'll be looking internally rather?
Well, obviously, I will. That doesn't mean I wouldn't look outside, but I'm obviously going to start first with the best police department in the nation. Yes.
Chief, I would say I think a lot of people in D.C. really admire you showing up day in and day out at night, early in the morning to unfortunate crime scenes, and I admire that as well. Also, you're involved with WJLA-TV and the kids in the Southeast. That was very special too. With all that said, what do you think is the biggest win for your time in office, and also the biggest loss?
So the biggest win, obviously, is driving down crime the way we've managed to do it at this point. But I think for me, because I am a person of community, I love this city. I mean, it has been a lot of work but the way the members of the residents of the District of Columbia have embraced me. I remember coming into the space and I said to the mayor, I said, dang, people want to take pictures all the time. And she said, well, it would be something if they didn't want to take a picture with you at all. And so everywhere I go and everywhere I've been in this city, the residents have really embraced me, and I'm grateful for that. I think, and I'm going to make this personal, if I have to talk about what was challenging for me, was losing a member of our workforce. I thought about it this morning, like, no chief wants to lose a member in the line of duty, or even outside of the line of duty. And knowing that I was 3,000 miles away, and I just spent time with Investigator Wayne David the month before at an event, at an outside event, and we had such an amazing conversation. That was probably my lowest point on the job. I didn't know how I was going to get through that, and I don't think people understand, being a chief at the top of an organization, it can be lonely at times, because one of the things that we always have to do is show up strong every single day in this space, and I certainly appreciate, and I'm going to say this, Deputy Mayor Lindsay Appiah, she's walked the streets with me sometimes at night when I was first in this space. I mean, we're stepping over police tape and lines and all kinds of things, and I was like, ooh, did I know what I got myself into? But I also appreciate the continued support, and my weekly meetings with Mayor Bowser has been something that I probably have never experienced in leadership. What I can say about the mayor's leadership for me is that she's not overbearing. She's been very, very intentional about allowing me to lead the police department and lead the city. And then there are moments where she's had to sit down and say to me, hey, we need to get this crime down. I'll never forget that day. And I walked out feeling like, okay, I've got to look at different initiatives and different strategies. And I wanted to make sure that we had the best leadership in place. And the mayor said it best. We have a bench of men and women at the Metropolitan Police Department who I would stand up against anyone across the United States 10 toes down. They know what to do. They know how to lead. They know how to manage. I also would like to applaud Chief Conti, who stood up the D.C. Police Leadership Academy. And that is a space where we build a generation of leaders, not just here in MPD, but across the United States. We have a long list of folks in line to take that class, leaders across the country. And so for me, it was really about continuing to build leadership. So at any point in time, I chose to walk away. The mayor, as she stated, it won't be challenging. She can look at the depth that we have and make the best decision for continuing to move our police department and our city forward.
Okay. One.
Beatrice Peterson, ABC News. Police Chief, another question for you. I was wondering, what do you hope your legacy will be as Police Chief, and what advice do you give for the next Police Chief? You've done 28 years of service federally and locally. So what do you hope that they can do for the next?
So I'll go with the 3 C's for you have to be able to communicate. You have to have excellent collaboration, not just with our external partners, but with our DC government partners. And the person has to have a passion for community. The residents in this community, my phone rings all time of day, all time of night, and you have to answer the call. You have to answer the phone. You have to show up. You may have to sit in somebody's basement to have a conversation about something. You have to dress down sometimes. Sometimes I'm in community and people don't know I'm there, and it's just to protect the anonymity of the folks who really trust the Metropolitan Police Department, but sometimes are afraid to share the information that's necessary. And so I think those are the 3 critical things: communication, collaboration, and you have to be involved in community.
Okay, last 2. Oh, go ahead.
Legacy?
Let me think about that.
Okay, last 2 here. Yep.
Thanks. Chief Smith, I wanted to ask, for when you have your incoming interim police chief, the challenge right now is certainly with the federal Joint Task Force. And I wonder if you can elaborate on, A, the specific guidance you have given commanders or rank and file officers about how to handle that, especially when it comes to if federal immigration officers want to step in, a traffic stop, and then what advice you would give the next interim police.
I don't think I have to give him or her any advice. We've walked through this path together for 2.5 years. The leaders that you see in place, I meet with them on a weekly basis, sometimes 2 and 3 times a week. We talk about what's happening in the city. They know probably better than I do what's happening in community from day to day with our federal partners, because a lot of them are very intimately involved, especially our commanders. So at this point, I don't need to give them any advice. I think what I'd like to do is give them encouragement.
Can you elaborate on any instructions that you have given?
With the same instructions that we've had up to this point. If he or she chooses to go in a different direction, I will leave that up to the chief or interim chief to make that decision. But as of right now, we've been working in the vein in which I've advised, and it's working for us.
Appreciate it. I have a budget question. So last week during the legislative meeting, when the council extended the juvenile emergency curfew, it was my understanding that they wanted to see some budget priorities in terms of services and recreational activities for youth. Has there been any thought in acquiescing to that? Do you have any thoughts on, either Mayor Bowser or Chief Smith around just what the council is requesting? Is it anything?
Well, the council, as you know, is the budget maker. They completed the budget for this year just in, I don't know, what was that, August? The first week in August. So I'm assuming that they laid out their budget priorities in the budget.
Sorry, I meant for FY27.
Well, FY27, we won't issue that budget until March or April.
Right, and then so again, April 15th was their deadline because they want to see your priorities for FY27 before they started entertaining the possibility of permanent legislation.
I'm not sure I follow your question.
No problem. So my question is that April 15th, that was the deadline that was imposed.
In 2026?
In 2026, yes.
Okay.
Because they wanted to see your priorities for FY27, and if you were going to, I guess.
Oh, you mean for the juvenile curfew? That was a date that was associated with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I got it. Okay. I wasn't aware of that, but okay.
So in terms of your priorities, have you given any thought as to, acquiescing to that? Or is there anything in terms of programming that you see you can add, or, is the council, are they out of step,
I won't say, I won't say they're out of step, but they may not be as aware about the vast programming that's available. And so we would want everybody, not just the council, but all of our agencies, as we do every year in the budget formulation process, we're looking at what works, what doesn't work, what needs to shift. I do think it's a bit of a red herring to talk about that in the juvenile curfew. I think they're two different conversations. And I would hope that the council wouldn't punt on what is working. I mean, what did they do? Did they pass it?
They extended it temporary to April 15th.
Got it. So we are, I would want to make sure that they're keeping tools in the toolbox that work. And it's really separate and apart from questions about recreation activities, in my opinion. Right. Thank you, everybody.
We now return to our previously scheduled program, already in progress.